Hi, I'm Asia, and welcome back to the Strange Days Diaries, and this is a very strange one and kind of an unfortunate video today. I first want to say it's pretty amazing that Vanlife really does truly bring the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, like really it does. I do actually truly enjoy the challenges and the daily challenges that Vanlife brings me. I don't think I would be doing this for the last 4 years if I didn't. I like kind of living life on my toes and constantly problem solving. It keeps me present, it keeps me busy. I do get bored easily, so I enjoy that. But with that being said, if you're a follower of the channel, then you saw in my previous vlogs, 2 vlogs ago, how someone tried to steal my van, and it was really traumatic and pretty hard for me to handle, but I did get my van back, and that was the vlog that just went live, my last vlog, which you probably saw, and I was prepping for my big 2-week trip. My soul was on fire. I was so excited to finally hit the road, and that brings me to this vlog you're watching right now. So the day had finally come. I was gonna embark on my trip, and I started filming like normal, like a normal vlog. But little did I know that day when I woke up and started vlogging, so excited to embark on my trip, that life would throw me a total curveball and I would be back in my extremely depressed, unfortunate state of mind way more quickly than I even realized. So what I'm gonna do is roll that vlog for you now, show you that vlog because it started off great. Again, I woke up obviously not knowing this was all gonna happen, and then I'll hop on once shit hit the fan and I'll update you and continue on with the video. So I present to you that day's vlog. Hi, I'm Asia, and welcome back to the Strange Days Diaries, and good morning from beautiful San Francisco. I am very excited because I'm actually heading out of the city today. It's currently about 6:30. I've been up since 5 a.m. and I'm very tired, but there's a reason why I'm up so early, and that is because today I'm finally embarking on my big 2-week trip that I've been so excited about. I still have no idea where I'm going, which again is like kind of the whole point. I love flying by the seat of my pants. If you're new here, again, my name is Asia. I live and travel out of my 1990 Chevy Astro van, and we have a very good time over here. So if you love van life vlogs, van life content, then definitely subscribe, because all I'm going to be doing quite literally for the next 2 weeks straight is traveling into the middle of nowhere and just seeing what the hell I can get up to. The more desolate, the better. This is the Strange Days Diaries after all, you know? But anyways, I think I'm kind of rambling. There's a reason why I woke up so early. So I have to go out to Fremont again because I need to get my CV axle replaced. If you're a follower of the channel, then you saw that I just recently got my tires and brakes replaced at Les Schwab in Fremont. They did an incredible job, and while they did that, they found that my CV axle was torn. And fast forward about a week later, someone tried to steal my van, totally messed up my back door locks. So I took it to my local mechanic, and he also told me, yes, your CV axle is torn. I highly recommend you get it replaced. So I decided to just go with Les Schwab and have them do that for me today. So that's where I'm going first thing today, out to Fremont. I have an 8 a.m. appointment, and then I will be hitting the road. So let's go out to Fremont and then get the hell out of town. So I just pulled up to Fremont. I'm only like a block or 2 from the Les Schwab. I'm currently at a red light, but I'm also 30 minutes early, which is awesome because that means I skipped and missed all of the traffic, which is awesome. So I'm just gonna pull in here and chill out for the next 30-ish minutes. I definitely could use another coffee, so maybe I'll whip up another coffee in the back of the van. We'll see. But here we are, back at good old Fremont Les Schwab. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I've just been sitting here scrolling on like Instagram and YouTube and stuff. I'm so tired, but yeah, so I guess with that being said, I didn't get any coffee, which is fine. I had coffee earlier, but that was at like 5:30 a.m. and it's almost 8 o'clock and they open at 8 and my appointment is at 8. So I just packed a bag with my laptop and headphones and stuff. So I'm gonna get some work done here, hopefully while they work on Speck, and maybe I'll wake up because I'm getting work done and listening to music, or I'll just make coffee when they're done with Speck. But yeah, it's about 8 o'clock, so I'm about to head in. I do believe in the saying, the early bird gets the worm, which is why I made this appointment to be at 8 a.m. But beyond that, I really wanted to just get the CV axle replaced and hit the road.
How are you gonna
And after checking in and giving them my keys, I set my stuff down at a table, and that's when I realized they have coffee. You can imagine how stoked I was to see that they had coffee. So I grabbed a cup for myself and opened my laptop and just got to work. Hi, so sorry to interrupt your video, but I have something I really quickly am excited to announce. If you've ever been curious about meeting me and seeing Speck in person, then now is your chance, because Speck and I are going to be going to the Bay Area Tiny Fest September 14 and 15, and I would love to see you guys there. If you're curious about van life or tiny homes, or if you've ever wanted to see inside my van or just simply get to know me, then now is your chance. I will be at the Santa Clara Fairgrounds at Tiny Fest September 14 and 15. All of the info will be linked in the description below, and make sure and use code SPECK to get $10 off your ticket. I really hope to see you guys there. I would love to meet you in person and just talk all about van life and show you the van. All right, that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening. Without further ado, let's get back to your video. So I spent the next couple hours just kind of hanging around Les Schwab, checking out their tires, obviously re-upping on the coffee like 100 times. You have no idea how happy I was to see they had coffee. And just continuing to edit. I love that Les Schwab has Wi-Fi for me to do so and just get some work done while I wait. I also obviously never pass up an opportunity for free water. So I topped off my water bottle, and then they called my name because Speck was ready to go. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Cool. You too. Okay, so I just left Les Schwab and the CV axle replacement went beautifully, apparently. So that's good. I just pulled out into some random parking lot right now to kind of figure out what my next step is going to be. I am getting slightly hungry, but I'm not like super hungry yet, so I might just snack on beef jerky. But I need to just evaluate things, figure out where I'm going, because I'm hitting the road, so I have no idea where I'm going. And that's typically how I roll. I know I need gas, and that's about it, and then I'm probably just gonna head east and figure it out. So yeah, just gonna take a few moments and put a couple things away, like my laptop and stuff, since I was working on it, and then continue on. All right, I just threw a couple things back where they belong and pulled out my beef jerky. Let me know in the comments below what your guys' favorite beef jerky is. I have a love-hate relationship with beef jerky, actually. Basically, it's like kind of the perfect road trip snack in my opinion. And so what happens is I get obsessed with it. I buy it, eat it all the time, like every single day for like 2 months. And then I burn myself out on it so bad that the thought of beef jerky repulses me. But then like 3 or 4 months go by and I'm like, you know what? Beef jerky sounds kind of good right now. So I buy a bag, give it a little taste, and become obsessed again. So I'm currently in the beef jerky obsession. We'll see how long it lasts. And I'm down for literally any and all types of beef jerky, or jerky in general. Like, it doesn't have to be beef. So let me know your favorites below, because I would love to read your comments and try it out. As I edit this video, it's so sad to me seeing how stoked I was after driving away from Les Schwab and going on my little ramble about beef jerky. I was just so thrilled to finally be hitting the road with a van full of food and water, and I topped off my gas. I just was so stoked, but little did I know, literally everything was about to hit the fan in like T-minus 15 minutes. Also, comment below what your gas price is in your area, please, because we are absolutely screwed out here in California. I love California, don't get me wrong, but man, the price of living here plus the price of gas is just brutal. Yikes. Anyways, after I hopped back in Speck after topping off, that's when things went sideways. Okay, hello. So now we're at the part of the vlog where shit hit the fan, unfortunately. Not even 15 minutes after I fueled up at that gas station, I was on the road, literally 3 blocks away from getting onto an on-ramp for the freeway to literally hit the freeway and just head east, when all of a sudden I started feeling the van go like whoa, 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 like really hard. It's hard to describe, but the van just immediately felt really bad, really off. Something was wrong. So I immediately pulled over, and as soon as I pulled over, the van died. Obviously, this made my heart start racing, but I was trying to stay cool and calm and just breathe and try and like assess what the hell just happened. So I give it a minute and then I try starting the van again, and she does fire right up. And where I had pulled over, where I had broke down, was probably about like 20 feet away from a primo spot on the side of the road to pull over. So I was like, okay, if there's any way I can drive Speck like 20 feet forward, that would be super helpful. I was in a safe spot, I was off the road, but if I could just get like 20 feet forward, that would be helpful. So when the van fired right back up, I went to put it in drive and it died again. So obviously I knew something was really wrong. I was very disappointed, but trying to like keep a cool, calm, collected head on my shoulders, and I gave my dad a call. At this point, I hadn't gotten out of the van yet, but I put my hazards on when I called my dad. I hopped out of the van, and with my dad on the phone, that's when I noticed the van had sprung a leak under the right side of the van. I, of course, explained everything to my dad, who, if you don't know, he's a mechanic himself, and he's helped me just immensely with Speck, the van build, just my van life journey in general. And he's just an incredible, invaluable resource for me. And I'm just so thankful I can call him whenever I have any questions. And so I'm explaining what happened, and I talk about the leak, and I actually film a video and show it to him. So this is the video that I sent him. Okay, gotten under the van. Oh, I can barely do this, sorry. All right, I feel like this separated. Do you see that line? Anyways, here's a clear video nonetheless. After that, we just start problem solving. We're trying to figure out what happened. I, of course, think this has to be related to the CV axle repair that not even an hour before had just been done. But based on everything I'm explaining to my dad, it just doesn't seem related at all. So at one point, I hop back in the van, I turn it on, it's stumbling, it's still turning over and stumbling, but it does turn on. So I have the van on, I'm revving the engine, everything seems good. All of my gauges are reading normal. At one point, I do get out, I check the oil. I just got my oil changed last week. The levels are beautiful, perfect. Everything seems fine. So I have no idea what's going on. After about like, I want to say 10 to 20, maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. Time was just like slipping by. I don't know. I was so hyper focused. Could have been 10 minutes. It could have been 30 minutes. Talking to my dad, trying to self-diagnose what the hell happened. Reality starts setting in that this trip that's already been pushed significantly due to everything else I've talked to you guys about in previous vlogs is now going to be pushed again. And again, I'm trying to stay cool, calm, and collected and breathe and not get so emotional and sad over the fact that I just know my trip is about to get pushed again because of this breakdown. But ultimately, I have to call AAA and get towed. And initially, I wanted to get towed back to Les Schwab because they had just touched the van. I was like, there's no way what is happening isn't related to the CV axle, although I could tell it wasn't related, but I just couldn't wrap my mind around it not being related. So when I called AAA, they showed up way faster than I've ever experienced in the past. I have had breakdowns before, and typically they take a couple hours to come out, but this guy came out in like 30 minutes, which was awesome. Well, I'm literally devastated. I don't know what to do. I think the tow truck is about to pull up. I was gonna say an update, but I'm gonna have to say it later. Oh my God, oh shit, I gotta get my stuff. Yeah, that's definitely the tow. When the tow truck driver arrives, I tell him I want to get towed back to Les Schwab because they had just touched my van, and I wanted to confirm that whatever was happening wasn't related to what they were doing. And so my tow truck driver pulls Speck up onto the truck, and then I hop into the cab and we head back to Les Schwab. But I'm so glad that as we're heading back to Les Schwab, I'm telling my tow truck driver everything that went on and what's going on. And I tell him that my plan is to get towed to Les Schwab, have the guys at Les Schwab take a look at the van, and then if they deem they can't do anything or that it wasn't their fault, then I'm gonna call another tow truck and get towed to my mechanic in San Francisco. Again, I'm really glad I told my tow truck driver this because he informed me that at least through AAA, you're only allowed one tow a day. So this gives me anxiety, and I just basically immediately have to resolve to just telling him to please pivot and tow me all the way to my mechanic in San Francisco, because more than likely Les Schwab wouldn't have been able to help me anyways. I will say I definitely was counting my blessings because, again, I broke down 3 blocks before the on-ramp for the freeway, and I was planning on actually going out into the middle of nowhere where there probably wouldn't be any phone service. So this did happen in a great spot. Like, if it had to happen, it happened in a decent spot. I was still in the Bay Area. I have a 100-mile tow range, and I was well within that 100 miles. I was so thankful for that. I had cell service, and you know, I could have been out in the middle of nowhere with no cell service. This could have happened and I totally would have been screwed. I don't even know what I would have done. So I was trying to count my blessings, but I also was trying to hold in violent tears and like screaming because I couldn't believe my trip was getting delayed again. So as we were driving back into San Francisco with little old Speck on the tow truck, I was texting my friend Greta, telling her what had happened. And I was telling her that more than likely, just based on my experience with my mechanic and the fact that this is kind of an emergency thing, that they would probably have to keep the van overnight. And without me even asking, she immediately just offered up her apartment, her spare room for me to stay in, which was just so unbelievably kind. And I was so thankful because I did ultimately need to stay at her house that night. Once the tow driver pulled up to Cowden Automotive, which again, shout out Cowden Automotive, shout out Justin at Cowden. They've been my mechanic for years in San Francisco. They're based on Folsom and 4th downtown, and they are just the best. They're really the best. So when my tow truck driver pulls up, they unhook Speck, and immediately Justin runs out of the shop to talk to me. I show him all my videos and pictures. I explain what happened. They push Speck in neutral into the shop, and he asks for the keys. And before I head out, I ask him, hey, do you mind if I pack a quick bag and throw my food into a bag as well? Because I was literally ready to go on a road trip and I'm probably gonna have to spend the night with a friend. And he said, yeah, you know, I mean, he wasn't rushing me, but it is a busy shop, so I had to do it very quickly. But I'm glad I had the foresight to think about packing a bag. So while Speck is like in their shop, their busy shop, I hop in, I pack a bag, I fill my tote bag with all my food from my fridge, I turn my fridge off, and then I'm on foot. Greta works downtown San Francisco, and she was at work at the time, and her work is about 10 blocks from the mechanic shop, and she told me that I could just swing by her work to grab her house keys. And so that's what I do. I walk the 10 blocks there with all my stuff on my back and in my tote bag, and again, I'm just totally holding back tears because I'm just so devastated and I can't believe this is happening. It's also like 75, 80 degrees, super humid out in San Francisco. The sun is baking onto me, and I just feel like shit, to be totally honest. So I meet up with Greta, I grab her keys, and then I hop on a train and I get to her house. I take a shower and just bawl my eyes out. I, again, cannot believe this is happening, but it is happening. I obviously have no idea what's wrong with Speck, so I'm worried about Speck, and it was just very, very overwhelming. So I spend the night at Greta's, and then the next day I get a call from Justin. And that is when he informs me that basically my spark plugs are blown, and my ignition coil and a couple other things are also blown, essentially in my entire ignition system. So that confirms it had nothing to do with my CV axle. It was just a freak coincidence that right after I got my CV axle worked on, something else went in the van. So after doing some tests, Justin essentially told me I needed to get a bunch of components within my ignition system replaced. It was going to be very expensive, but that was how we were going to get the van up and running again. So I agreed and told him to go ahead and just get that done. So then that whole day, I didn't hear back from Justin, and I spent another night with Greta at her house. Again, I just cannot express how thankful I am. She let me stay at her place. If this had happened while I was on the road, I would have had to get a hotel, obviously. And when it comes to money, I just couldn't really afford that right now. So I really am counting my blessings that this happened in the Bay. I have good friends here and that I could stay with her. I can't thank you enough, Greta. If you're watching this, you are amazing. And that brings us to today. So I woke up this morning, Justin gave me a call and he said, hey, Speck is all good to go. You can come pick her up. So first thing this morning, I went to a local donut shop actually, and I got all the mechanics at the shop a box of donuts as like a thank you for just being the best and for working on Speck in like short notice and no time basically. I hop on the train and I head over to the mechanic. They were thrilled with the donuts. They were so happy about that. And that's a little pro tip. If you ever have people work on your car, I highly recommend getting them, you know, coffee, donuts, maybe cookies or something. They love it. And I just think it's a sweet thing to do as a thank you, especially if they worked on your car in like an emergency situation, like a breakdown, you know? And before I know it, he is pulling my sweet old gal Speck up to the front of the mechanic shop, and I hop into her and she's good to go running, and I've just been in her ever since. So I am happy that I have Speck back. Obviously, I'm thrilled. I'm so glad I have my baby back, my home back. I'm back in my home. I'm not thrilled that my road trip has just continuously been pushed and pushed and pushed. And after getting anything like this done, you really need to stay local, do local drives, a little bit of highway speed, but like test everything out. live in the van, really be with it and sit with it for like at least 2 or 3 days after getting mechanical work done to just ensure nothing else went wrong. So I have to be here in SF or in the Bay at least within 100 miles because I have that 100-mile tow radius for the next like couple days. So that brings me to today. That is my update for now, but yeah, I broke down and it just totally sucked. But I'm so glad I have Speck back, and hopefully, really crossing my fingers, nothing else happens and she's good to go forever. I especially need to make sure she's good to go for Tiny Fest, which is September 14 and 15. I really hope to see you guys there. If you're in the Bay, come out to Tiny Fest, meet me, see the van, get a tour, get a Speck sticker. I would love to meet you guys. And if you are interested in going, make sure and use code SPECK to get $10 off your ticket. And yeah, I hope to see you guys there. Thank you again for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I love that you're following me on this Strange Days Diaries journey. It means a lot to me that you're here, and I will have an update for you guys in a couple days. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.